Hey, True Believers Englentine here, and I am a huge Alice Cooper fan, man. Seriously. Mr. Vincent Damon Furrier. Yeah, that's his actual name. He was in a band called Nas. Before that was called the Earwigs, and then like the Spiders. And they figured, you know what? We kind of invented this whole shock rock kind of thing. So what are we going to do? We need a name that is absolutely the opposite of what we have to show. And they named it Alice Cooper. They just thought that was a very mundane sort of name. And they got some success and, of course, ended up breaking up. Vincent decided to change his name to Alice Cooper, and the rest is history. He became a horror freaking icon to the point where we're like, you know what? You need to be in comics. And he did one called Last Temptation. I'll get to that. But first, let's talk about his first appearance in comic books. So kick back, relax, and let's get this party started.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Sometimes a cover really tells you what you're going to get on the inside. This has got some wild art, it's got a wild story, and I have read the unauthorized biography of Marvel Comics or whatever it was called, and they admitted to being high for most of the seven. And if you what you're about to see, you will believe that these people were high when they wrote and drew this. And of course, being a 70s book, it starts off with a nice big old 70s splash page. Welcome to my breakdown. It's not bad, really, if you can ignore the electrodes. Sort of like going to camp. Decal. Haha, that's just a joke. And, oh, you thought I sneezed? You'll fit real good in here. Stan Lee presents Alice Cooper. From the inside. The image shows the shadow of a nurse. She's pointing towards Alice Cooper. He's standing at an open window holding on to tied bed sheets. So, trying to escape, Mr. Cooper? I can't turn my back on you for a minute. Nurse Frazetta, you know what happens to naughty boys, don't you? You got it all wrong. I'm not escaping. I just felt like going out for Mugu Gaipan and some laces for my sneakers. And we also see that this story is based on the Warner Brothers album by Alice Cooper and Bernie Taupin. Ha! You're lying. You know that patients aren't allowed to have shoelaces, the nurse says. That's not true. You're always lacing the food with something. That's enough. I'm afraid you'll have to see the doctor. Sick 'em, boys. Alice Cooper screams, no, I don't need a doctor. I'm not sick. I feel great, honest. And the two orderlies are dragging him away. The nurse replies to Alice Cooper, now, Mr. Cooper, if you weren't sick, you wouldn't be in the hospital, would you? Now, come along. I'm not going to argue. Alice replies, I'm not going to argue either. I'm going to fight. Hi-yow! Suddenly, a man dressed as a soldier jumps out, shoves a gun in the nurse's face. Freeze! Give the password or I'll grease you. The orderlies, nonplussed by this, decide to talk about the Red Sox and the Yankees. Alice Cooper screaming, ow, 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 Jackknife Johnny, you gotta help me. Jackknife Johnny puts his gun closer to the nurse's face. Where you grunts taking my little buddy? Talk quick before I defoliate you, savvy? The nurse replies, don't get upset, Mr. Johnny. Everything is all right. Alice nervously says, don't let them take me, Johnny. They're the enemy. Alice has been wounded, just like you were, Mr. Johnny. Those nice medics are going to patch him up. Oh, Johnny says, now go back to sleep, the nurse replies. I can't. Charlie's overrunning the fire base. I'm actually kind of surprised they bring up the Vietnam War like this, making a joke of a character, because I know eventually in the 80s it became a bit of a sore spot. Maybe it was still too much of a political thing to become so sacred as it would before. I don't know. What I do know is I should not have worn my green shirt to record this, but here we are. So Johnny salutes Alice, calling him a real billion-dollar baby. We see Alice being choked out and carried along. Just don't let him get to you, Johnny says to him. And then we see Alice being led to another doctor. Ah, Mr. Cooper, causing a disturbance again. Nasty, nasty.
I must get that hat back. Think nasty, think nasty, think nasty.
All right, gang, so I noticed they're mentioning music here a lot, Alice Cooper songs. So I'm going to ring a bell every time one gets mentioned. We're going to see how many they can fit in one comic book. Now, I know some Alice Cooper music here, but I don't know all of it. So you got to help me out. If I miss something, let me know in the comments below. We see the orderlies bringing him to this new wacky doctor. Alice is screaming, "No, no, not me! I was just stepping out for some fresh air. I just wanted to take a walk to Mexico." I'm pretty sure that's a lyric, but I can't remember what song that's to. So once again, if you know, let me know in the comments below. And the nurse throws Alice under the bus, saying, "He doesn't like our hospitality." The crazy doctor says, "Alice is just confused. It must be too noisy in his room, especially when he's in it. He just needs some quiet." And he'll get lots of it in the quiet room. The orderlies throw him in, singing, "Da da da da." Alice screams, "No!" and then sighs as the door slams. And then he addresses his audience. "Here I am in the quiet room again. It's becoming my home away from home, away from home. Oh, hello there. Hello, hooray." One of my favorite songs from Alice, by the way. "I'll bet you think I'm crazy," Alice says. "Me crazy? That's a real laugh." Let me tell you the real story. I was not always as you see me now. Oh no. It wasn't long ago that I was your everyday average rock and roll superstar trying to survive the high-powered lunacy of the showbiz world. I used to be such a sweet, sweet thing till they got a hold of me. Sure, maybe I looked a little crazy on stage, but that was just an act. It was mostly work. The pressures of traveling, recording, writing, drinking, playing golf with celebrities. It was a 24 hours a day whirl. I was dazed and confused. My mind was undergoing a meltdown. People would talk to me and it wouldn't register. And we see a disheveled Alice with a snake around his neck. Finally, I had to do something to straighten out. I checked into a clinic to dry up and calm my nerves. And we see the snake has now wrapped himself all around Alice's body. And the nurse is saying, "Please take a seat, Mr. Cooper." I thought I was home free. How was I to know that the guy with a quiet giggle sitting next to me was Alex Cooper? A certified paranoid schizo with a radial tire fetish. And then we see two cops who really look like the cast of Car 54, Where Are You? Saying, "Hey, there's the dude. His name's A. Cooper." And they grab him. "Come along, Mr. Cooper. This is for your own good." And the snake kind of stays behind. I didn't realize their mistake at first. I assumed their protective manner was just their way of helping me. And we see them forcefully showering Alice Cooper. "Hey guys, I appreciate this, but I can wash myself, honestly. Besides, I came here to dry out." I'm pretty sure that the most disturbing thing we're going to see in this entire comic book is the Submariner waiting behind Alice Cooper with a rubber ducky going, "We're next." So Alice Cooper continues the story saying, "It dawned on me that they weren't listening, but hey, they're the professionals, know what I mean?" And you see the snake being thrown out into the garbage onto a bum. Who was I to quibble with their methods? And we cut to a crazy doctor. Alice Cooper's attached to something electrical, and he continues the story. "So, snakeless in a strange land, I met the deadly Dr. Fingeroth." And Fingeroth says, "Just sit tight, you dangerous loony, and I'll give you your morning juice." "Dangerous loony?" Alice Cooper replies. "But first a little ice water, never hurt anyone." And Alice is thrown into a cold bath that's being run by the Frankenstein monster. The doctor's treatment gave me the chilling feeling that something was amiss. My suspicions were confirmed when I found out that juice wasn't just for breakfast anymore. We see an orderly working the machine. Alice Cooper pleads, "Please, Doc, I just want to rock and roll. I'm no Looney Tune." "Tut tut, my boy. You want to be normal, don't you?" Alice Cooper screams, "No!" as the electricity buzzes through his body. "Ah, what a voice. We could make a singer out of him," says the doctor. "Or some other kind of sewing machine, or maybe a queen." The story continues. Alice is in the dark. I was well on my way to becoming a Vegematic, but the doctor felt I needed some slicing and dicing, so I'm a surgeon, not a sturgeon, so let's trim these locks. Soon I was normal, or at least I looked normal. I felt numb, but the doc assured me that that's what it's all about. "And now it's time for you to meet your new friends." "Ooh," Alice says. Frankly, I think he looks like Weird Al. So Alice Cooper is led into a common room where it's just one other guy, the army dude we saw, and what looks like a hooker. Very interesting asylum here. Oops, I forgot I split this panel in two. Also, they've got what looks like a gnome, a brother and sister team, who I think are sleeping together, and a guy who acts like a dog with a foot fetish. And Alice continues, Dr. Fingeroth and Nurse Rosetta shared responsibilities for the patients. The doc even provided personal therapy when he thought it was called for. Come along, Alex. It's time for you to stand on your own 2 feet. Alice, my name's Alice. And we see the crazy doctor hitting on the hooker. We also see there's a Napoleon, a guy with... We also see a patient with a severe Napoleon complex, and a guy saying, Roy, this is Tony. So I'm thinking maybe it's Tony Isabella calling Roy Thomas? We see the crazy doctor hit on the hooker badly, and Alice thinks the doc wasn't the only one with strange romantic notions. And we see Nurse Cratchit say, come on, don't drag your feet. I'm not dragging my feet. I think someone's pulling your leg. And we see the creepy little guy grabbing onto the nurse's foot again. And she's saying, Jerome, you grabbing people's feet again? Not just any feet. I'm very discriminating. I'm an effete snob. Does Jerome like Nurse Rosetta? Oh, yes, Rosetta. Rosetta, you stone me. So the nurse throws Jerome into the shower with alley-oop. That's weird. And we cut to Alice saying, of course, not all my new friends were so lovey-dovey. Cigarette, Private? No thanks. Don't smoke, huh? I like that. Shows discipline. You'll go far in this man's army, son. Just call me Jackoff Johnny. Jackknife. I meant Jackknife. So we're back into the common room, and Jackknife Johnny is talking about the war and how he took some shrapnel because a Vietnamese girl he fell in love with turned out to be a VC. Johnny goes a little bit nuts saying, Charlie's everywhere, you gotta watch out for him. Alice says, I will, sir, but I have to go now. And of course, it's getting crowded. The Popeye gang's there and the Incredible Hulk. Alice walks away saying Jackknife Johnny was a little too intense for me in my woozed out state, so I wandered around the room looking for harmless types. And he walks into the brother and sister troupe saying, that's how I ran into Millie and Billy, and they seem like a nice couple. Excuse me. Look what I drew for you, Millie. It's especially for you. Oh, how lovely, Millie answers. Millie shows the picture to Alice Cooper and says, see, isn't Billy talented? Nice. Who is it? Millie yells, it's my poor departed ex-husband, and she takes a pair of scissors, stabbing it into the picture. Billy goes, oh, Millie, you remembered. And Alice yells, my stay here was becoming a hair-raising experience. If you can identify the guys in the background, please put it in the comments below. I put the light that's too intense. The filtered one's right beside me. Okay. Anywho, I was going to point out that I mentioned, okay, they're doing a lot of songs, but they only did 2. I thought they would keep it going. But apparently what this whole thing is a take on different kinds of comic books. So we've got Millie and Billy, the romance comics. We've, of course, got the war comics with Jackknife Johnny. I don't know what the foot fetishist represents, though. If you'll, once again, if you know, let me know in the comments below. But it is interesting seeing Popeye's here, alley-oops there. There's the Incredible Hulk. I do not know who those guys were in the background of the last panel. So once again, if you know, comments below. That being said, let's move on. Cooper resumes his story. I was having a hard time telling the inmates from the keepers. Anything, I'll give you anything, the doctor says to the hooker. Just sign yourself over into my personal care. Alice says, I was taken aback. I was taking a step back. As a matter of fact, when, yow, the painter yells as Alice backs into him. The painted image kindled a spark of awareness inside of me. I've got to get out of here, for Veronica's sake. I'm remembering, but my face is all wrong. I have to put it back. Then I'll know who I am. There, now I see the real me. A newly fresh painted Alice Cooper jumps out of his prison wardrobe. No, I'm gonna get back to reality and nobody can stop me. Woo-ha! He says as he jumps over some orderlies. Oh dear, the crazy doctor yells as Alice Cooper lands on him. This hospital is no place for the sick people. We see Archie in the back screaming, Veronica, as he's in his straitjacket. That's a put down, Doc. I don't get it, but there you go. And now, a word from our sponsor. Da na 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 na. Featuring the Incredible Hulk and the Ultimate Weapon. We see two scientists looking at their ultimate weapon, but it's out of control. It'll destroy everything and anything in its path. And in its path, the Hulk. We see people running away from the behemoth machine as the Hulk stands straight. Dumb humans scared. Hulk not scared. Hulk one punches the machine and it shatters. Arr! Yells the Hulk, climbing on top of the rubble. Hulk enjoy fight. First time humans no interfere with Hulk. Now Hulk do them a favor. Humans forget troubles. Enjoy Hostess fruit pie. Light, tender crust. Real fruit filling. Apple, cherry, peach filling too. And we see two scientists talking to each other. I say our weapons contract has been terminated permanently. Maybe we should forget about weapons and concentrate on enjoying ourselves, starting with these Hostess fruit pies. Humans finally getting smart. And remember, you get a big delight in every bite of Hostess fruit pies. We see Alice Cooper rushing for the door, yelling, "Gangway! I'm going back to the world of cheeseburgers and bowling for dollars. No more insanity for me." Nurse Rosetta says, "Mr. Cooper, you're upsetting the patient. Stop it this minute." "I'm busting out," Cooper says. "Out of here, nursey, and you're going to be my hostage." "You can't do that to a registered nurse," the crazy doctor yells. You animal." Alice Cooper tries to make his way out with the nurse, but "This isn't going the way I was expecting," Alice said. "I should have known. It's never wise to make a last-minute travel arrangement." The Nurse Rosetta yells, "Everyone get back to your bunks. Nurse Rosetta is getting angry. She's hulking out," one inmate says. Alice yells for Johnny to grab Tiffany the hooker. "She's a VC, huh? The Kong here." Tiffany says, "Don't be absurd, darling. No one who is anyone comes here." "Come on, Johnny. We got to get out of here and warn the regiment." "Check. Forget the check. Put it on my Diners Club." We see the guys pull their hostages through the door. "I thought we were free and clear," Alice believes. "But then I thought Iggy Pop was a breakfast cereal." "Help!" Rosetta screams. But Jerome's having none of it. "They're hurting her!" And he jumps on top of Alice. "Let go, my Rosetta, you heel!" The crazy doctor yells, "Don't worry about her. Save Tiffany." "I'm very disappointed in you, Mr. Cooper. I thought you were one of the nice ones," Nurse Rosetta says and elbows him in the jaw. "They were on me," Alice continues the story. "And there were too many of them. Too many of them. I felt like the end of a chapter in a cheap detective novel as I..." And we see all sorts of chaos. Blacked out. The frame is dark. See? I woke up in a much more restrained mood. And we see Alice Cooper lying in bed, strapped down. "Gee, I've had trouble getting out of bed before, but this is ridiculous. I knew I had to get loose, but I was strapped for a solution. I would try binding negotiations, but Nurse Rosetta was arbitrary enough as it was. My thoughts would have gone on this way if they hadn't been interrupted by Nursey herself. I decided to pretend I was asleep. It was the only shred of sneakiness I had to hold on to." "Mr. Cooper?" Rosetta asks. "Still sleeping, good. This nice sedative will make sure you stay that way." Then, like Fay Ray and King Kong, the beauty took pity on the captive beast. "Poor Alice," Rosetta said. "Maybe you'll sleep easier without the straps." Minutes later, "Boy, thank heaven for my $1 billion baby face." Okay, we're not counting that. It's already been used. "I thought things like this only happen in the movies. I guess they happen in comic books too. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Well, it's supposed to be escapist literature, so I might as well escape. I felt like Houdini, the Count of Monte Cristo, and Spider-Man all rolled into one. No wonder they thought I was schizophrenic. I was on my way, but immediately I ran into obstacles. Ow! The midget wing? Veronica, they put you away too, huh? Well, we're getting out, just you and me. Now, keep quiet." Alice grabs a snake and moves on. With stealthy stealth and careful care, I prowled the grounds to make my way to the outer wall. We see Veronica pull Alice over the wall and lovingly embrace him while he says, "We were over and out." Alice makes it to the highway and attempts to get a ride, but nobody likes the way he looks. So he decides to take a walk, and he comes to a sleepy town with high property taxes. Walking around the small town, Alice feels at home. He could live here. Maybe raise some kids. I wonder if they have a Kiwanis club, he asks, and I ask, what's a Kiwanis club? But he hears the sound of parades. Let's go see. But unfortunately, it's not a parade, it's a political rally, my fellow Americans. Oh boy, democracy in action, Alice says. If I am elected, I promise a chicken in every pot and 4 radial tires in every garage. And Alice yells, oh no! It's the wild and crazy guy from the clinic. He's trying to co-opt the franchise of the electorate. As I look down the vast steel belt of this great state, I see that the thread is worn thin. The bias is giving out. Still better than Biden. Alice tries to warn the crowd. Wait, you don't know what you're doing. Listen to me, Alex Cooper is a nut. He can't be elected. But the crazed crowd was too excited for their crazed nominee. My public service was making the public nervous, Alice said as he's trying to get away from the police. Good thing we found him. We can't have any loonies mucking up the political system. Doc Fingeroth will know what to do with him. And they drag him away to the van. So once again, Alice sits in the dark, talking to us directly. See how it is? But I'll keep trying and someday I'll get out of here. You don't believe me, do you? You really think I'm crazy? How'd it get loose? I don't know, but it's Alice's. Catch it! Put it in there with him! Veronica! Alice yells as the orderly throws the snake in with him. Oh, poor baby, did they scare you? Alice turns to the readers. So you think I'm crazy? Well, maybe I am. Or maybe it's you who's crazy. Don't think so? Well, then what are you doing in here with me? Think about it. We're all crazy, and personally, I don't care. So there you go, guys. That's the first appearance of Alice Cooper. I haven't read that book in probably a decade. It's been on my wall for a long time, and I have not taken it down. I haven't opened it and read it or anything like that. It's always been a favorite of mine. I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, like I said, and so just having it has been awesome. I do have to mention there were a lot of puns that I don't remember. I forgot, okay, a lot of the actual stories. Like I remembered the pieces and parts, but not the specifics and everything. I recommend it. Obviously, you guys saw it. Hopefully, it's something you enjoyed. If you do like these videos, by all means, stick around when the credits start. You'll have a couple of them to search for, or just watch the playlist. It's a lot of fun. I like doing these comic book origins. As a matter of fact, if you do like them, go on over to Ko-Fi and you can have a video commission. Just pick whatever character. Please make it somebody who's easy to find. By all means, stick around, hit that notification bell, hit all so you don't miss it, because I will be doing a reading of those and talking about it as we go, the whole 9 yards. So keep an eye out for that. This book, I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Don't forget to do all the clickings, likings, sharings, and all that kind of stuff. If you don't mind going over to Ko-Fi, join as a member. Cool things happen around these parts, by the way. You should be a member somewhere. You should at least click notification and hit all. That being said, once again, I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.